What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Dead by Daylight Story Times. It has been quite a while, but we just got to the point where we got all the challenges done in the archive, so let's hop right into the storytelling. Alright.
Jane needs a job.
Yeah, we already know story, Jane.
As a waitress at a
right here.
Jane's cell phone rings. She freezes on the sidewalk. This is it. And she doesn't know if she wants to answer or not. She can't take another rejection. Not for this part. This part is too important. She brings the cell phone to her ear. Answers. She hears a voice she recognizes. Her agent. He tells her how everyone enjoyed her audition. How everyone thought she was just fantastic. He goes on about something else. She waits for the but. The proverbial but. 1,000 compliments negated by one single, all-destroying but. It doesn't come. She listens to the trivial notes and waits for the polite rejection. Instead, you got the part. She's not sure she heard right. You got the part. She mumbles to herself. I got the part. Her face grows numb with disbelief. She screams. Strangers turn to face her. Sorry.
Well, she got the part. That's very nice.
Dwayne helps Jane rehearse at a cafe. They take a break and he tells her the hack is now doing a Chinese story and is desperately searching for a Chinese writer to validate his most recent abomination. Jane laughs. Hacks with money, it's how bad movies get made. She tells Dwayne things are going well with the play. She doesn't have to do an accent. Doesn't have to wear a miniskirt or perpetuate a ridiculous stereotype. Doesn't have to do all the stupidities she had to do in the past. This is a real gig. A meaningful gig. A gig she can share with her family. She knocks on the table. Dwayne laughs and says it isn't wood. She shrugs. He says he's happy for her and hands her a cutout from a magazine. Open audition for Quick Talk. He says he put in a good word for her. She'd make a perfect host. She thanks him, but the play takes all her time. Too bad. You're the most real person I know, and that's what the show needs. Authenticity.
Alright.
Last rehearsal before opening night, and she's nailed her role despite some last-minute changes to the script. She feels the adrenaline and a great sense of flow unlike anything she's ever experienced before. The director claps after the last line is delivered. He approaches her, tells her he's amazed, impressed, inspired. But he feels her character would work better with an accent. A what? The request undermines her, shatters her. Why? I don't understand. For giggles. It would be fun. The character doesn't need an accent. The character is fine without an accent. But it would add comic relief. Comic relief! That's what she is to this director, to the producers, to this industry. Comic relief. She stares at him. Waits for him to burst out laughing. Waits for him to say he's joking. Waits for an apology that never comes. She sighs and feels the strength of her ancestors coursing through her veins, a strength that won't allow her to sell out, a strength that won't allow her to perpetuate a hurtful image of what it means to be an American. She shakes her head at the director. Find a comedian, asshole. She storms off stage. Those who follow their path beat the odds, even if the odds are 1,000,000,000 to 1. Bullshit.
Oh dear. Alright, got a nice little cinematic thing. Let's just check it out. She became Oprah. Alright, next part.
Imbecile. That's what he called me. Carter wonders if he can remother these sheep. Remother. He loves the term. He wishes it was his own, but it's not. Shock them with electricity and expose them to endless images of death, chaos, and destruction. Traumatize the brain, empty it, lobotomize these subjects to remother them with new personalities. He wonders if he could remother these sheep into wolves. Get them to kill each other. Better yet, turn these good, law-abiding students into serial bombers. He rips the plug out of a lamp, splits the wires, peels the wire, places the exposed wire into a student's mouth, slowly approaches the socket, taking in his terror, plugs it in, screams as he remothers this exemplary student. A putrid smell of burning hair and skin reaches his olfactory receptors. There's another stench. Imbecile soiled himself. Carter laughs. He hasn't been this stimulated in ages. To be free. Ah, to be truly free.
Okay, Mr. Doctor.
Carter hasn't had this much fun since he first tried to transplant a mouse brain into a rabbit. A week isn't enough. He wishes he had more time. He needs more time. There are new avenues within the mind to explore. Too many avenues, not enough time. He wishes he had the tools to operate on their brains. There are knives in the kitchen. Good work. Not surgical precision, but good enough. He's read about a gland in the brain that looks like an eye. A gland that supposedly secretes DMT, a kind of mystical drug. He wonders if he can extract it from a living subject. He wonders what a good dosage of human DMT does to a test subject.
Okay.
Carter unties a rope. He's going to release Good Doctor. He's pumped him with drugs and programmed him with new thoughts. He believes the other students are Russian spies that need to be executed for national security. He unwraps the rope and places a screwdriver in his hands. He changes his mind, removes the screwdriver, replaces it with a fork, changes his mind again, replaces the fork with a spoon. He's never seen a spoon used to kill a human being. He backs away from Good Doctor, who is lost and confused, remothered. He says a phrase. The moon is down. Confusion becomes clarity as Good Doctor stands and approaches the Russian spies with a spoon. Brilliant.
Okay.
Bleeding Heart Blanchard returns to the farmhouse with a group of men Carter's never seen before. They look like government men. He suppresses a smile and tells them Good Doctor got out of hand, took things a degree too far. He barely got out alive. Blanchard tells him to shut up. His tone is different. He doesn't sound like an imbecile. We taped the whole thing. Carter exchanges a look with the men in black suits. He doesn't understand. The imbecile enters and does the unexpected. He stares at the barely breathing student unperturbed. No fear, no panic, no emotion, nothing. He grins and mumbles something to himself in German. He turns to Carter with a smile. His smile turns to a grin when the men in black suits handcuff and arrest him. Blanchard whispers, "Looks like you had your chance to make merry hell and took it. The cuffs are just for appearances." I don't understand. Yes, you do. You understand much more than the others. Welcome to MK Awakening.
Dang. He got in. Let's just get on to the clip. Oof. Turned out literally being ripped out. That was fucking creepy. Just on to the next one.
Arcus 328. There is a curiosity at the core of every thinking person. A need for knowledge from uncharted and unknowable territories. But what is discovered in those blank spaces of the abyss, of the cosmos, are things far too immense to understand. Things better left unobserved, lest they undermine our sanity. Better to embrace ignorance than face the truth of our insignificance in the grand scheme of it all. Against the vastness of the infinite, we are mere microbes, swirling in an endless, indifferent cosmic stew. I say stew, but the entity is probably more of a blood pudding.
More like a survivor pudding.
Arcus 7547. Whiskey deep into the night. A strange aftertaste. A flavor from a world which makes the best whiskey. Whiskey dreams are some of the most pleasurable. Dreams of home, with friends and family, enjoying time lost. When my senses returned, I realized I had turned my palace of a prison upside down. I remembered none of it. Everything a drunken blur. So many paintings and statues I had created from memories from other worlds. Shattered. I'm losing my grip on reality, and maybe that's a good thing. One day merges into the next, and I'm lost in a storm of whiskey, screams, and endless streams of broken memories. Arcus 3212. From a window, I see something moving with an uncanny light. Through the black fog, it shines there, beckoning me. And yet I cannot leave. I cannot move. I can only bring things to me through the Orus. What light is this? Is it a creature sent by the entity? Is it a survivor? Or perhaps it's a marooned soul from back home searching like myself for a way back. An unnatural wind whines, and I stare at the moving, hypnotic light. A hideous watching eye, trying to reach out to me. Trying to tell me something. Trying to convey something in its strange, rhythmic movement. Arcus 345. I have recently wondered if survivors realize the titanic significance of their thoughts and feelings, and of how the entity uses them to furnish the trials. Thoughts and feelings that bring me glimpses of what it's like to have lived on a parallel world as someone else. It helps pass the time.
Okay.
Arcus 1043. I look and observe the realms of the entity with eyes that see disharmony, chaos, fear, and terror. And yet I acknowledge I may be swayed by appearances, and that there may be another truth beyond the veil, and it feels futile, if not absurd, to try to put to words what I am seeing.
All right.
Arcus 767. The Orus was little understood back home, and to be fair, I wasn't given the chance to explain its merits to the Council. Had they taken the time to understand, they would have realized that though I had no verifiable explanation for how the Oris works, I had theories. And the most reasonable was that the Oris works on the basis of the Trinitarian of creation, a concept long held by our ancestors and forgotten throughout the ages. But the concept isn't complicated, isn't witchcraft, isn't a secret. It simply suggests that it takes two things to create a third, a father and mother to create a child, an idea and passion to create something new, something real, something lasting and meaningful, a thought and feeling. Therein lies the best theory of the Oris and how it is able to create with auric particles. The failing of other pioneers back home is they believed thought alone was enough, when in reality it is only half the equation. The other half is emotion, for it is feeling and passion that fuels the fires of creation. The Oris amplifies and manifests and forges something new using the mold of thought and the fires of passion. Or, I've been here too long, and I'm grasping at theories to pass the time. Arcus 293. Things could have been worse. I could have been banished in a dimension without auric fog, containing the memory imprints of countless victims. Memories that keep me entertained and busy with my coin and spirit collections. And the music. The variations from parallel worlds. It helps pass the time. In a twisted way, I think what I'm admitting is that I'm glad the entity takes what it wants, when it wants, from the Omniverse.
Okay.
Arcus 632. Through a rift, I believe I culled another memory of Vigo, manifesting reality within the entity with something reminiscent of the Oris. How he came to understand the machinations of the fog is both puzzling and inspiring. It suggests to me that perhaps this place enhances one's connections to our infinite selves throughout the Omniverse.
So they have different other versions of themselves in other Omniverses? Oh. Interesting.
Arcus 9873. King has this way of doing things that are quite amusing. One of my favorite memories I return to time and time again whenever I need a lift is Memory 2332. Gasoline Man. King grabs this man who skipped a few payments on a loan. He drags him by the hair and throws him in an alley. He grabs a metal gasoline container and douses the sod with its contents and lights a match. He stares at him through the flickering flame as the man screams in terror. He watches him beg for his life. Then he flings the match. The man's eyes pop out of his head as the flame hits his chest and falls to the floor with a sizzle. King tells him to make his payment or next time he'll use real gasoline. Brilliant.
Damn, a king.
Arcus 9082. Max has quite an arm. A farmer made his way out of a barn, and with one well-aimed blow with a spade, his head was severed from his shoulders, and 2 spouts of hot blood burst from his body like geysers. He watched the headless man stagger stupidly and collapse in a growing puddle of steaming blood. I have to admit I've gone through this memory more than once. It's one of my favorites. I find Max disturbingly amusing, and the illusion of death fascinating. At a distance.
All right.
Arcus 893. Several survivors went mad trying to escape the trial. They had with them memories of previous incarnations, so that one survivor began dashing his head against a wall, convinced he was reliving a nightmare he had just escaped. The other survivors drowned him in mud to shut him up. It seems to me survivors are torches growing dimmer and dimmer with every trial. Some stop to feel altogether and are doomed to the void. Others go raving mad and need to be silenced by others.
Where's this feature in our games? Just drown all the little ones that don't do anything.
Arcus 223. I felt an uncanny and unseen presence in the archives as I contemplated the entity. I could hear the labored breathing of killers standing outside my prison. I looked out into the dark, raging fog and saw nothing. Either the entity is aware of my presence and is preparing to send killers to put an end to my plans, or the memories of survivors are somehow merging with my personal memories, and these sounds are mere side effects of overusing the Auris. In the end, it doesn't matter. If I could end the entity, I would, even if it meant my own demise. My life is little to pay for the salvation of the worlds it will destroy.
Okay.
Arcus 1032. Jumbled experiences of brutal killers and weird rituals of godless brutes from worlds too dark to care. I jerked myself straight out of one memory that pulled me into a cavern of bodies with an odor so repugnant I was retching for hours. I still have that horrible taste in my mouth and shudder at the thought of that smell. That horrible smell. Rotting humanity. What foul creature of a man had made this festering hole his lair is beyond me. Arcus 7456. I am taking notes under incredible mental strain. I have had flashes of survivor memories overrun my senses all day, and I'm trying to focus on home and gather myself. I haven't used the Auris for some time, and yet I have been pulled in and out of these lives randomly. These records, these archives will, I imagine, help me remember myself, should this Auris nudge me into the abyss.
Well, that's going to be doing it for this episode of Dead by Daylight storytelling. If y'all did enjoy this video and want to see more Dead by Daylight, let me know by leaving a like and leaving a comment. And if you are new, please do subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a good day, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye, everyone.